Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Agile IT Tech Talk. I'm your host, Sean Spicer, and this is, I think, week 700 of Shelter in Place, broadcasting here from my home studio. So a couple weeks ago, we did a Tech Talk, actually a couple months ago, did a Tech Talk with Conrad, our CEO, about all the Active Directories. And then a couple weeks ago, I got requests for discussions around hybrid infrastructure. And today I'm going to take the chance to really combine those two topics, go a lot deeper into Azure Active Directory. This is part one of Modern Access. So we're going to talk about SSO, SAML, integrating your SaaS apps, integrating Office 365 and Azure. And this is going to be 3 parts. So Modern Access is going to be broken up into 2 parts. We're going to go over it this week and next week. And then after that, going to go into a deeper talk more on the architecture and how those architectures are configured directly in Azure Active Directory. So I hope this is helpful for everyone. So Azure AD Connect integrates your on-premise directories with Azure Active Directory. This provides your common identity for users of Office 365, Azure, SaaS applications that have been integrated with Azure AD, etc. Integrating your on-premise directories with Azure AD makes your users more productive by providing a common identity for accessing both their cloud and on-premise resources. Let's get started. So Azure AD integrates with thousands of popular SaaS applications. So Concur, Workday, Salesforce, HubSpot, supporting single sign-on authentication and identity, and it provides secure access management to these applications. Azure AD supports federated single sign-on through Microsoft Azure AD single sign-on and password single sign-on to third-party apps and internal custom apps. So single sign-on, like I said, allows users to access all of their applications and resources by signing in only once using a single user account. In case you missed it last week, I think it was Thursday, was International Passwordless Day. Well, this also includes logging in with Windows Hello, biometrics, and things like that. So once signed in, users can access all of these applications without being required to authenticate. Now, we've done some stuff about just-in-time and just-enough access, so you can set certain controls where, okay, you're signed in and maybe you do have extra administrator access. If you try to sign in with that, it's going to stop you and ask for an MFA challenge. So let's take a look here, and let's look at what this would look like for Salesforce. So, pardon me. Let's look at the single sign-on permissions. So Azure AD supports 3 types of SSO authentication. There's SAML-based sign-on, and this uses federated sign-on to allow your users to automatically sign into a SaaS app using the user account information from Azure AD. So they don't need that second sign-in for Salesforce. Password single sign-on enables users to be automatically signed into the third-party app by Azure AD using a specific set of credentials. So if your standard SAML setup and integration isn't there in that application, you can actually pass on your credentials. And then linked single sign-on, that supports single sign-on to the app using Active Directory federation services or another third-party single sign-on provider. That could be Duo, that could be IAM. And here you can see those available authentication types. So again, we're in this demo tenant, as always, Contoso. And so right now, they're onboarding the Salesforce application for availability to all employees in order to provide on-demand services that help with their global customer communications. The admin has added the Salesforce application to Azure AD from the Azure AD application gallery. And to simplify access to the application, they configured Salesforce with federated SSO. So let's look at how this was configured. So the sign-on URL, pardon me, adjusting my glasses, points to the web-based sign-in page for this application. Here you have basic SAML configuration with the sign-in URL field here. And the SAML signing certificate section, you can see the properties of that certificate. Let's scroll down here. Now, if the application is configured to perform service provider initiated single sign-on, then when a user navigates to this URL, the service provider will do the necessary redirections to authenticate and log the user into the application. In here, you can see the configure sign-on instructions specific to this tenant, and that's all listed up in here. So the admin has had to do some configurations within the Salesforce application. This includes uploading the certificate that was downloaded from here and configuring the Salesforce authentication provider. Beyond single sign-on, Azure AD also supports account provisioning. So when users from Azure AD are assigned access to Salesforce, they find their user account, or it will automatically find the user account in Salesforce. So here you've got your admin username, admin password, and secret token are blocked. And let's expand the mappings. There we go. So then we've got our settings and our synchronization details. So the last step in enabling SSO integration is to assign users in groups who can access the app. The admin is assigned the sales and marketing security group access to Salesforce. So any members of this group have access to the app. So anyone added to the sales and marketing group will automatically have access to the app. And we can also, as an admin, add individual users. So then we also will be prompted to define what kind of access the Salesforce profile should have. And newly provisioned users will have access to Salesforce via the application panel as soon as they are granted access by the administrator. This provisions the account. You don't have to go in and set it up. It's as soon as you add it to the group, if that group is supposed to have access, it will automatically provision that account in Salesforce for you. This works in reverse as well. If somebody is leaving the company, if there has been perhaps a compromised account, when that account is locked, access to that third-party SaaS app is blocked as well. So let's look at what the end user experience looks like. So the Azure AD Access Panel is a cross-device, cross-browser portal supporting iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. Here at Agile IT, we do the My Apps portal through a plugin in our browser, which gives us access to all of our SaaS apps. To reach the Access Panel, users authenticate against Azure AD once, and then they can view and access any of the applications listed in the My Apps portal. If the application was configured by SSO by the administrator, the users don't need to re-authenticate to access the application at all. Single sign-on will take care of the authentication automatically. Now, there's an interesting thing we do at Agile IT, and it's primarily for the marketing group. We have a number of applications that do not support multiple users. So things that allow us to track public mentions of us on social media, things like that. And what we've done is we've used that credential login in order to put them into the My Applications portal. And what we do is we designate that by putting an S in parentheses after for shared credentials. This is never anything secure. It's always just usually reporting tools like what I use for SEO. So here you can see all of the different applications, and let's look at what Salesforce looks like. So here, he's logged into the Access panel using his corporate credentials, and you can see all the applications available to him. And he has seamless access to line of business and custom applications without having to remember multiple logins and passwords for each. So where is Chatter? So now let's explore the bring your own apps in the admin session. So Azure AD Application Gallery, as I mentioned, features thousands of applications that can be added to an organization. But if you use third-party applications that aren't in that gallery, you can add one as a custom app for the organization to use. So Azure AD has an application proxy that provides secure remote access to on-premise web apps. So after single sign-on to Azure AD, your users can access both those SaaS apps as well as your on-premise applications through an external URL or an internal application portal. For example, application proxy can provide remote access and single sign-on to remote desktop, SharePoint, Teams, Tableau, Click, and any of your line of business applications. So in this demo, Contoso is using a third-party expense management and reporting solution. The solution is provided as SaaS by a vendor called Woodgrove. The IT admin wants everyone in the sales and marketing organization to have access to this service in such a way that they don't need to log in. Furthermore, they only use one login for the entire group, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. So the admin doesn't want to share that password with everyone. So again, if somebody leaves the company, they don't walk out the door with those passwords. So here we're going to go to Manage Enterprise Applications. Sorry, I'm taking off my glasses. So although the Woodgrove Expense Manager app is not listed amongst everything in here, you can still add it by adding a new application. And Azure is going to give us these admin tools to onboard it into the organization's application as a non-gallery app. So we'll go ahead and give it a name. They don't ask for a friendly name here. It's not like the security portals. Okay, we want to add. So once added, the admin can assign single sign-on. So once signed in through AD into the Contoso network, users can access the expense reporting tool without being required to authenticate. And that doesn't matter whether they're in the office or not, because it's Azure AD. And they won't have to type a second password. So the single sign-on function allows Azure AD to automatically sign in users into these third-party apps, like this expense reporting tool, using the app's user account information. So in this case, it will be password-based. We add the URL to the expense report, and then we save it. And then there we go, configure Woodgrove Expense Manager password single sign-on settings. So in the configure sign-on blade, we're going to go ahead and manually detect our sign-on fields. Pardon me. Now we can test drive the expense reporting app sign-in page, which opens in a new tab. So a sign-in form was successfully detected at the provided URL. And so now the admin can assign users to the application or view and edit sign-in field labels. All right, you're going to get this little pop-up saying, do we want to save the captured login details? We click OK. Then it's going to double check for us here. And we want to say, OK, I was able to sign into the app successfully, and click OK. So now we assign the sales and marketing security group access to the Woodgrove expense reporting app, so all members of the group have access to the app. I'm going to go ahead and add a user. Users and groups. Search by name. Sales and marketing. We're going to go ahead and select them and add them here. And then we're going to assign credentials. So anyone who joins the sales and marketing group will automatically have access to the app. So we do want to assign credentials to be shared amongst all group members. We're going to provide their credentials. Click OK. And then we're going to go ahead and save it by clicking Assign. So Azure AD allows these custom apps to be configured with custom icons to make it easy for administrators to apply custom branding. It also allows your end users to see things and just work really quickly without having to look for, oh, does SF stand for Salesforce or some other app? So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So we've got this icon. Now, in a live environment, you'd right click, but this is a demo. We're going to go ahead, save the image. Close this browser tab. We're going to go to, pardon me, manage and properties. So here we've got the default logo, which will just be showing up in that My Applications bracket here. And we're going to go ahead and select a file, Grove Bank. And then now that we've done it, we want to save it. Updating. All right. Now let's look what this looks like from the end user. So here they're logged into the access panel using their corporate credentials and can see all of the applications available to them. And alphabetical order, where are you? There we go. Woodgrove Expense Manager, you can see we've got this new icon. And the users have seamless access to the line of business and their custom applications. And again, without having to remember multiple logins and passwords for each. This is nice because you don't have people reusing passwords. You really know where things are, and you can, since you're setting it, you can set the strength of those passwords. So here you can see that access was pre-configured to automatically log into the app. And custom applications be darned. There we go. All right. So Azure Active Directory business-to-business collaboration lets you share your company's applications and services with guest users from any other organization. That can be an MSP, that can be auditors, that can be contractors. But it also lets you maintain control over your own corporate data, work safely and securely with external partners, even if they don't have Azure AD or an IT department. So a simple invitation and redemption process lets your partners use their own credentials to access your company's resources. So Azure AD B2B collaboration supports these cross-company relationships by enabling your partners to selectively access corporate applications and data using self-managed apps. So Azure AD supports adding 4 different types of users. 1, a new user in an organization, a user with an existing Microsoft account, a user in another Microsoft Azure AD directory, or users in a partner company. So in this case, the Contoso Bug Bashers is an internal security user group that's dedicated for cross-platform testing and QA. Contoso has recently taken on a large project where the testing needs to be performed in collaboration with a partner firm, the Bug Bashers. So how can Contoso's users and the partners work seamlessly on the same project and across the same assets online? Well, with Azure AD B2B capabilities, that allows Contoso to invite the partner users into their directory and allow them access to only the resources they need. We're going to go ahead and search. Now, the Contoso Bug Bashers security group owner or a global admin can add new members to the group. If the new members are not yet part of the Contoso directory, they can invite to join the directory via an automated email. So let's go ahead and invite them and include a personal message and invite. I'm going to go ahead and select in order to save and send. Group members were successfully added. So let's look at what that external email looks like and what the end user's experience is. So here, the partner using Gmail receives the email to join the Contoso directory. So the partner simply needs to click on the link here in the email to authenticate with their own existing credentials. That'll open up in a new tab. Okay, we need to create a password. I would not like information. Now we're going to have the MFA challenge is going to be sent over. So with that one-time passcode. And the other thing is we don't need to manage their passwords. So this is all on them. So now we've got verify your email address now that we've signed in. We've got the code 6786. Go ahead and click next. Create account. Before proceeding, we need to make sure a real person is creating the account. I'm putting my glasses back on. All right. So now we've got review permissions. So the organization would like to sign you in, read your name, email address, and photo. We're going to go ahead and accept. And here are the applications. We're going to be using Browser Stack for this common testing application here. And who are we going to sign in on? We're going to sign in as John, who was just invited. So the application is going to launch and log in the external user automatically. All right. So as soon as that partner user accepts the invitation to join your directory and is added to that bug basher security group, they have access to all the same apps and resources that other internal members of the group have access to. In this case, they're all able to access that Browser Stack SaaS application and collaborate on testing. So access by external users to corporate applications can be gated by conditional access policies, the same as your corporate users. So here, Azure AD is requiring that MFA is performed to access the Browser Stack application. So require two-factor authentication for Browser Stack. All right, so other conditional access rules can be applied to internal or external users. Let's enable and save. So let's check back to the external users browser session. So our external user can now access the Browser Stack application, same as before. But first, they must complete their initial configuration of MFA. If you went through our MFA Tech Talk or the Perfect Secure Score, you've seen me set this up multiple times, but let's go through it again really quickly. So how should we contact you? Let's select country or region. We are the United States. We're going to go ahead and type our phone number, send me a code by text message. So now we've gotten that code. Go ahead and enter it and verify. Verification is successful and done. And this time now the app just launches and logs in just like before with that added level of security. So we're coming up on the half hour here, and I am looking to see if there have been any questions through the session. This has been part one, and we are going to go ahead and save the IT efficiencies part, because this really can be set up to save you a lot of time for your IT admins, your managers, as well as speeding up the way that your end users work. And we're going to cover that next week. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. As a reminder, Agile IT Tech Talks are a benefit for our MSP and CSP customers. At the end of these demos, we shut off recording, we open up the floor for open Q&A, and if you are watching online, if you're on YouTube or reading about this on our blog, feel free to leave a comment down below. Give us a like and follow, and ask any questions in those comments. I generally try to get to them within a day. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer because some of your questions are incredibly complex and I have to actually reach out to some of our engineers. But again, thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe out there and have a great weekend. Take care.